think I ran out of space on my iCloud, and I don't want to lose any of this because we have Maria joining us tonight, and she is my favorite like aromatherapy expert. So, not that I have a long list of them, but her knowledge is like it's out there, vast into space. So, I'm going to start with just this is habit 9, and we are on self care and the five senses, which in our society, I think are extremely overlooked. So I'm just going to go into a 2-minute rant here. Um, the way that we perceive the outside world and how we manifest it and become our inner world are through our five senses. And not that we abuse our senses intentionally, but we're not aware of them and we're not caring for them enough to make a difference, especially later in life. um, we have our five senses, which are our, sight, smell, taste, touch, and our ability to hear. And the five senses have five sensory organs. God bless you, Maureen, that go along with these. So we have our eyes, we have our ears, our nose, our mouth, and our skin, which is the largest organ of the body, is our sensory organ for the sense of touch because it feels and can interact with everything on the outside. It's not what you would think would be like touch, that's not, it's the largest organ of the body. And the tongue is a super, super important one, which is really needs to be cared for and maintained along with all of the other are equally as important. But the tongue is it's like our first initiation into digestion. It's our defense against, say, if you were to ingest something that was really, really distasteful or could be poisonous or something, your immediate reaction would be to spit it out. The body is smart enough to taste and to either, enjoy it or get rid of it. And so the tongue, which we'll get into later in it, we have particular cares for the tongue, which are super important for health, digestion, just maintaining the body in general. Our eyes are more used now than any time in history because of all of our devices. Where we used to read and kind of the norm was to, as you got older, start to have to wear glasses and have a degenerative kind of an effect on you. But now it's starting younger and younger and younger because, like, how guilty I am right now. I'm looking at 3 devices right now, and I could do this all through the day. And our eyes take in, so the eyes are our field of perception as we see all day long. Everything that we're taking in comes in through our sight as probably the first thing that we recognize is as the comes into our eyes, and then it gets the chemical message to our brain to see and to make this chemical knowledge of what we're perceiving, what we're seeing. And all through the day, as we're staring at these devices and hearing things, and things are coming in and we're looking one way and things are going on, especially in this type of a fast-paced life, we're not taking breaks. We're not one of the main things for degenerative eye right now is we don't blink. We do not remember to blink when we're staring at a screen. And it's like an actual scientific thing now. So people's eyes are getting drier earlier. They're getting more like redness and things because we're not looking out at nature at something and then coming here and then focusing over here like we would if we were, say, we worked out in the field somewhere, or back in the day when people were mainly outside more of the day and inside only a little bit of the day. So we're wearing glasses more, we're staring at devices, these blue screens, and it's breaking down our sight. So all 5 of our senses are feeding into our bodies and into our nervous system. So everything that we hear during the day, everything that we smell, everything that we see and we touch and we taste is the way that we take the outside world and bring it into our inside world. And that's the way that the body starts to metabolize all of these things. We call it, like, we'll have a sensory deprivation. We are on sensory overload in every aspect of all 5 senses. Remember when you were younger, or even recently, and you go to a concert and it's so loud and you're having so much fun, but the whole next day, your ears are still ringing. You've overtaxed that sense without having any kind of a care or anything to help rejuvenate. Um, Allie is waiting. Excuse me. Sorry, Allie. Um, how to rejuvenate and care for our senses, which is an enormous benefit if we are just taught how to do this. So if we all these habits seem to be so much, and that it's a lot to take in and it's a lot to do. And taking care of your five senses, is it going to really make or break your health? Probably not. The other senses, excuse me, the other habits are really the building blocks to our health. But taking care of the five senses helps all of the stimulation and all of everything on the outside world come into our system on a more easeful way. And if we care for them as we get older, we can ease into this. Um, our eyes don't have to be as bad. Our hearing, I mean, generally, our hearing goes as we get older. If we understand how to take care of our ears and care for them now, you you don't have to lose your hearing as you get older. All that damage that you did as a child, and the in the pubs in college and concerts, or if you work machines during the day, there's particular cares and there's particular things that we can do. And I don't know if anyone got to watch the video from the other night that I posted. It's about an hour long, and it really goes into the different healing modalities and just the daily care that we have for the senses. So the habits are very important. And I know it seems like a lot to take in, but sometimes you can just go into, what we call habit stacking. Do three little things in the morning, like scraping your tongue, rinsing your eyes, um, scraping your skin, doing the dry brushing. There's like three right there in one. And it probably took a minute and a half. So instead of thinking there's so much of this to do to take care of myself, think of it in the Kaizen approach. Maybe we just do a little bit each day, so many days in a row or whatever it is, and we can, as we say, habit stack them, get them in, but you're caring for yourself. So I am going to, so we're not going to go into the sense of touch, because that's really was taken care of in the whole habit with your massage, your abhyanga, that like that daily massage, getting things going. That is healing, and that is taking care of the sense of touch again, because it's the skin, it's the largest organ of the body. And we did so. I think we touched into in the morning care. Your nose is that's it. That's a I feel the nose. I mean, I've had huge improvements in the care of my nose. So, oiling your nose, nasia, is a huge care for, like I said in the teaching, so I won't get really into it that deep, but the dryness in certain seasons and things go into, so the direct connection, the fastest connection for our um, between our senses and our brain, right into the brain chemical response, is the olfactory nerve. It's the pathway from our nose right into the brain. And through the winter, through the fall, all these like super drying seasons, the membrane in there will lead to people suffer from migraines, nosebleeds, like all this, excess mucus and things. It comes from the nose itself not being either too dry or too wet, or so we have a habit that's it's nasia. So we use like nasia oils every day. And I think we went into this in the beginning when we were doing the tongue scraping and the oiling, along even with the massage, as you do your morning massage right into your ears, into your nose. But the nose is that's been like a huge one for me to like overcome nosebleeds and dryness, and it's so simple. Take a little bit of coconut oil, a little sesame seed oil, literally just put up into your nose and sniff up in, and keep the cavity nice and moist. Then the body doesn't produce excess moisture, because the body's brilliant. Wherever you're super, super dry, especially you vatas out there, and pittas, pittas burn it up. Vatas are just dry to begin with. Beautiful kapha skin, they kind of have that going, but they get the excess. So we want to create the real balance of the nose care. And again, the nasia, which we do have it in our habits guide, 60 through, I think, like page 69, has all of the cares, which we will get into them a little bit more in there. But I want to take a few minutes before I introduce Maria and let her go into a beautiful teaching on aromatherapy. Again, this is like the nose and the sense of just like calm and ease. But I'm going to let Maria do her beautiful expertise on this. So, just going to take about 5 minutes to go into what I find fascinating and super, super important when we're going through the beginnings of the habits. Remember, we've been into the tongue and the tongue charts and the tongue scraping in the morning. I don't know if any of you have really investigated. Has anyone like really kept up with checking their tongue in the morning, seeing what it looks like? Is it changing? Like, does anybody have out there anything, any like little words of wisdom or anything that they're noticing? Anybody get to the brink of, oh, I don't feel well, and I checked my tongue, and oh my gosh, like there it is. There's a coating on my tongue. Like stuff is going on. I see this. Anyone want to give a 2 minute share or 2 second? Yes, Miranda.
This whole week since I've started like pre-labor and contracting, even Andrew said something this morning, like my whole mouth when I wake up in the morning is so much more coated. It's so much more like, ugh, this whole week. It's like I can feel my body just like trying to disperse everything out
Yes.
before I go into labor. But that was like the first thing Andrew said this morning. He was like, ew.
But if you weren't aware of that, you would just think like, oh, maybe I should, back in the day, brush my tongue.
Yeah.
You're taking all that beautiful bacteria off. You just want to gently notice, okay, now there's an issue. My body's releasing toxins. I'm going to get rid of them. AMA is coming out. So you start to think, why? What did I do differently? What did I eat? Was I under stress? Is it really hot today? Is it so the
Is
first
there a baby trying to come out of
and
you?
babies like get all this stuff out of here because I'm coming. But if you so to be aware, I mean that's beautiful. Like you're aware of changes, things are happening. So that's exactly where you want to be. That's what you want to see. So every morning I look and I check, and at the end, after we let Maria take over, we're going to take like one of the tongue charts out, and we're going to kind of go through because it's brilliant. I love this science. So if you look at, if anybody has their pages up from the guide, we have the tongue diagnosis, the tongue chart. So if you look at your tongue going down, so the back is the intestine. So you can start to diagnose maybe there's an issue going on internally within you, not just general AMA coming out. You could have redness or patches on certain sides. And it's going to coincide, if you look at the tongue chart, with particular organs. Are you having an extreme pitta imbalance? Is it very red? Is it rashed? Is it vata? Is it dry? Is it super, super dry? Do you see cracks on your tongue? The body's going to show you these things so simply at first. It's that we don't listen to them. So we don't pay attention. Then the 6 stages of disease go further and further. And like we said in the last teachings, I think the sixth taste, the tongue detects the different taste, and it brilliantly starts to set up the body, different organs, knowing exactly what's coming in because it detected the taste, and particular tastes are digested in different organs of the body. Then, as we are learning, they're going deeper into tissue layers. So it's this beautiful breakdown of things that go on, but the body's so brilliant, it knows this. And if we start to look at our tongue and start to take care of our tongue, by not brushing it with a toothbrush, scraping our tongue gently and starting to listen to it, look at it. Like, what is it telling us? For the longest time in the summer, I was asking Dr. Nina after we did our, first tongue diagnosis and all this. I was like, my tongue is scalloped on the ends. Like it always has these little things. Are my teeth too small for my tongue? And she just laughed at me. She's like, no, that is an imbalance. You are not digesting properly the nutrients that you're eating. So you're eating them, beautiful, organic, amazing, wonderful food, but it's the wrong food for me, or I was eating it the wrong way at the wrong times. I was not paying attention to my body. So my tongue was constantly scalloped. So thinking I'm eating the best diet, and the best organic foods and all this, I was eating them, but I wasn't digesting any of them. I wasn't getting the benefit of the nutrients. And as she showed me, my tongue was saying it for years. I just thought I had, I thought my jawline was too big or too small, and my tongue was too big. It had nothing to do with it. And since I've learned how to adopt, these different changes to pacify a vata pitta, guess what? It went away. My digestion is better, and the tongue is clear. And as soon as, you go out and you have a great party night and you're, eating at, 9, 10 o'clock at night and all, you look at your tongue in the morning. It's going to show you none of this got digested. It's all still there in your body. So it's kind of brilliant. So we want to take care of the senses, and we really want to start paying attention to them. Like I have to I just, Vata's very good with earplugs at night because it helps you go inward calmly. So a Vata listening to all outside senses and sounds and different things, it's very unsettling to the body. But then I have to know in the mornings, like after the shower and stuff, to take a little bit of oil and put them in. Put in the video, you can actually take some oil and pour it in, just into the cavity. It soothes the body, but it maintains the ear. The inner ear gets maintained with this warm oil. It's like simple little things, especially like Allie, you with your children. It's so pacifying, but it's more crucial to start the kids on it because it keeps the health of their ears, ear infections, migraines, earaches, vertigo. If you take care of your ears, you can pacify those things that are happening, or you can prevent them if you start them early enough. So it's all these like really beautiful things. The five senses come inward. It's our digestion, it's our sight, it's our nervous system, it's the whole body's outside world. Everything that's going on, especially now we're in super system overload, the body has to figure out how to process it, how to metabolize it, how to take it all in and really use it properly, or just kind of almost, nervous system explode. So this section on your senses and like really taking care of your senses is crucial to maintain and be able to go through, life in more ease. But the rest will go over after. It's more kind of it, and it's all in the video that I sent out before. Like there's eye exercises. You can take a break from the computer, take your glasses off for a minute, like do your eye rolls and things to like your eye exercises. There is in there figure eights and looking up and down. But one really great one is just rub your hands together. And this actually calms the nervous system as well. Get some friction into, the heat and the messages and all the chemicals coming off your hands, and just put them over your eyes for a few minutes. And it calms the system down, but it really soothes the eyes. And it's pretty like instant. It just kind of, calms everything down. But okay, no further ado here. I am going to introduce a colleague, my friend. She's an author, she's a nutritionalist. She has studied all over in her quest to be this brilliant aromatherapist. We have Maria with us, and she's going to let you take over now for Maria a little bit and give us. So within the sense care, as I said, the quickest message from the body is through the sense of smell. So from there, I'm going to let Maria take over a little bit and give us some of her beautiful knowledge. Like,
Debbie, thanks so much.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here. So yes, I'm going to just give you a general overview on aromatherapy and then talk a little bit about how Ayurveda uses it, because I originally started studying aromatherapy, then went into clinical aromatherapy, and then realized when studying Ayurveda that this is the way it should be used according to each person's dosha. But just a quick, little definition on essential oils. So I'm sure, are you all familiar with essential oils and aromatherapy? Yeah. So they're a powerful healer. I mean, they work on physical and emotional health, right? Far beyond just being a great perfume. And they're extracted from different species of flowers, roots, seeds, berries, bark, leaf, resin, needles, fruit peels, and they can really do anything from reduce stress. I use them a lot in my practice. I make my own blends, but for mental health issues, for stress, they're great to enhance your meditation. They can even boost your immune system, give you energy, and they can treat viral and bacterial infections. Again, this is something to have in your overall toolkit. Great for the skin, good for digestion, great for pain. So these are some of the things that they can help with. And then the other thing is using them as to clean your house. You know, they're very safe. You want to use non-toxic in your house, especially, you know, when when you have children and pets, and they can give a natural flavor and aroma to food. But you know, they're very concentrated, so we really have to learn and know how to use them. I know, you know, you see them in the store and it just is like you have these oils all over the place, but brand matters and how we use them matters. And now these cosmetic companies have really gotten on board, and they're putting certain oils into their cosmetic products. But and just a quick little story. So Renee Maurice Scatafos, he's referred to as the father of aromatherapy. So he was in his studio, he's a chemist in France, and he was burned while he was conducting an experiment. And the only thing he had, I don't know why, nearby was a bowl of lavender oil. So he didn't know what else to do. So he had this burnt hand, he shoved the hand right in that bowl. And when his hand healed, it healed so quickly and without any scarring. So as a chemist, this really put him on the path to experimenting and researching these oils. And during World War I, he actually focused on wound healing for soldiers with really great success. And then, you know, he was the one that started using lavender, of course, but lemon, clove, and thyme for their antiseptic properties, which is still being used that way today. So I'll just give you a quick description of how to break it down a bit. So the fruity and the floral scents like lavender, rose, geranium, and orange, they calm us, right? Those minty scents like peppermint and spearmint, they're anti-inflammatory. So a lot of times we'll put them in blends for sore muscles. And they also, because they're anti-inflammatory, good for pittas, right? Because pittas are usually inflamed, they help with anger, because anger is an inflammation of the emotions, right? So, and then the spicy scents like eucalyptus, clove, black pepper, rosemary, they're stimulating and they give you some energy. So they're good for kapha. But they also help with muscle aches and memory. Like rosemary for thousands of years has been the memory oil. It's great if you have, you know, children in college, to give them a little rosemary oil to take with them, give them a little sniff before a test.
To my children, like Miranda's probably laughing right now. So I have rosemary plant at home all the time. And even in high school, I'd grab a bunch, I'd take it, and I would send it to school. And then after a while, they would just pick the rosemary before going to school for a test. They're like, getting that brain moving. I'm getting it.
Oh, that's great. Not only that, it smells so good, you know. But the thing about all these different ones that I mentioned, these scents, the beauty of Ayurveda is it goes according to your dosha. So a lot of oils, you can have 5 oils that calm you, but what oil is going to work for you specifically? And it also, you know, when you think about emotions like and memory. So lavender is a great calming oil, so is rose. But if those two scents remind you of something that's unpleasant, it's not going to calm you, especially if it reminds you of somebody that aggravates you. You know, you're definitely going to have a different reaction to that. So, and some of it is just basically, you know, trial and error. But I mean, to Debbie's point before, which she was talking about, that there is a science behind this, right? So your smell receptors are linked to your hypothalamus, which connects to your emotional brain, which is the limbic system. So smell is really linked to your emotions, your behavior, and your memory, which explains how inhaling these things can change emotions. So, and the biggest way that, of course, I never recommend to anyone ingesting them. I know there are companies out there that say, oh, you can put oils in. I don't think it's a good idea. They are so concentrated. If the way you can do that is, okay, so you can squeeze a lemon, or you can put the lemon peel into your water. You know, that's the way to get the oil. And the skin, as we know, is the largest organ of the body. So us women, we put about 600 chemicals a day on our bodies. Men is around 400. But like if you think of all of that stuff that's getting absorbed like into the layers, into the skin, going into the bloodstream, this is really something to think about too, especially when you have children. You know, you're putting all these creams and lotions on their skin, and they're being absorbed. So this is why I always stress to everyone to just, a lot of the stuff, even perfume, right? I think of all the stuff before I was doing this, the makeup, the lead and the lipstick, and the perfumes you're spraying that are really all toxic. So we really have to be careful about that. But so a few systems that these oils work with. So of course, smell is the big one, right? Directly linked to smell. The immune system, right? So the immune system detects viruses and bacteria that don't belong in the body, that are foreign invaders. So what the immune system does is it identifies this foreign invader and it wants to eradicate it. So essential oils can actually enhance the immune system, since many of these oils are antibacterial and antimicrobial, which prevent the body against infection, and especially now that we're so obsessed with all of this stuff. So so they're beneficial in so many ways. But let me give you talk a little bit about how Ayurveda teaches us. So Ayurveda, like everything else they teach, is known for thousands of years, that we're all different, we're all individual, and we should be treated that way. So like I said before, these oils all have the same properties. So which one of them, do you use? So for example, like Pitta, right? The fire element. I always go to Pitta first because I'm a Pitta. And they say most people in the United States are Pittas. And there's a reason for that, is that most of us come from immigrants. And they said, to be able to have the courage to get on a boat and to go to a country that is not familiar to you, no one, you really have to have that fire in your belly to actually do that. And they're like, Vatas probably wouldn't do that. And Kaphas are kind of, they're calm and they're like, they wouldn't be like, you know what, we don't have to bother to go to America. Why bother? So that would be their outlook on it. But Pitta, we already have enough fire, right? So we have heat. So what we want to do is cool down. So peppermint, rose, and jasmine. And of course, rose and jasmine, the two most expensive essential oils. But I always say you can use geranium too. You can substitute. They're really great for cooling us down. Vata is that cold, dry, quick, and irregular like the wind. So you want to use warming, grounding oils like a cinnamon, a eucalyptus, even a frankincense. Kapha being the earth element, it's cool, heavy, and slow by nature. So you want oils that are going to be stimulating and warming, such as ginger and cardamom, and again, rosemary. So like, for example, rosemary and thyme, they're heating oils. So they calm Vata and Kapha, but they provoke Pitta, right? And camphor, for example, is cooling and fragrant, but its after effect is heating. So it also calms and pacifies Vata and Kapha, but it may stimulate Pitta. So these are the things that we have to kind of be conscious of. And now according to dosha, so I'll just give you an example of some of the oils that are good for each dosha. So I'll expand upon this a little bit. So for Vata, there's really an array of oils, and you always want to use a carrier. There are two oils that you can use neat, which we call directly on the skin, and those two oils are lavender and tea tree. And of course, I'm sure you've all heard that tea tree is good for fungus. So you can put it directly on the skin. But I always err on the side of caution because, again, we're all different. Somebody may, if you're Pitta and you're prone to redness and irritation on the skin and inflammation, you may put something on neat and it may irritate you. So I always like to use a carrier oil with everything. So for example, for Vata, some of the oils, lavender is pretty universal. That's why I say every home should have lavender. It's good for so many things and it's pretty tridoshic. But lavender for Vatas, thyme, tangerine, sweet orange, cinnamon, chamomile. I love chamomile oil. It's a great oil to diffuse. I love diffusers because, especially for children, I bought actually my great nephew, he couldn't sleep and he was very colicky. So I sent my niece a diffuser and some chamomile. And I just said, put a couple of drops in the diffuser and diffuse it into the room. And she said it was really, really helpful. In addition to taking just one drop with some sesame oil, because sesame oil is a great base for vatas because it's grounding, right? So the vatas need the grounding. So you want like heavier oil. So sesame oil, avocado, you can even use almond oil if those other oils are too heavy for you, but they're great bases. And then of course, going back to the pitta, that it's intense. So pitta, I really, not just because I'm a pitta, but I love the sense of the pitta oil. So neroli is another one that's very expensive from the orange blossom, one of my favorites. Just go somewhere and smell it. Just, you know, it's wonderful. Peppermint, all these cooling oils, petitgrain, rose, sandalwood, ylang ylang. There's an array of oils, again, that'll help with the pitta dosha. And for a carrier, normally it's coconut, which again, coconut is a very cooling oil. So pittas need the cooling, and olive oil is fine. And you know what? You can use olive oil tridoshically too, if you don't have anything else. And then the kaphas, the slow and heavy that we want to kind of stimulate. Again, it's those oils. And, you know, if you think about it, like these oils that are spicy, right? Like clove, even clary sage, cinnamon. Actually, grapefruit is also very good for kapha. Kapha can also use peppermint. It's cooling, but it's also stimulating. And the carrier oils, mustard seed is actually, and mustard seed is used a lot in India, but mustard seed is a really good oil for, because it's, again, it's a spicy oil, and also almond oil. So again, I always recommend that you put whatever oil you're going to use in a base. And then there's also oils for the chakras. Did you talk about chakras already?
We did in the very beginning, but we haven't really gotten into, they're aware of them, but no,
right.
Yeah, please go into.
Yeah, so I'll just talk a little bit about the chakras. So the word chakra in Sanskrit means wheels of light or energy centers. And so if there's 7 of them, 7 main ones, there's more, but we deal mostly with 7. And if any of them are blocked, you know, illness, mental or physical, can occur. So it's really important to try to keep the channels clear so that your energy can freely flow. And I think of them like a clogged drain, right? If you know your drain is clogged, and if your root chakra, which is around the reproductive area, if that's clogged and you're moving, energy's moving upward, well, that energy can't move upward if your root chakra is clogged. So I think each one of them has specific emotions surrounding it. So the root chakra, or the base chakra, represents a feeling of feeling grounded, right? Survival issues, life issues, money, security. So it's located at the base of the spine, and you can, in the back, you can just feel that at the base of the spine. So there's certain oils that you can use to just even massage there with a carrier. Black pepper is one of them because it's used for blood circulation, aching muscles. Now it's used for low blood pressure, so you just have to be mindful of that. That's the other thing, you know, there are some contraindications with oils that you have to just be mindful of. Some oils can raise or lower your glucose. Some can raise or lower your blood pressure. So black pepper especially can cause irritation to the skin, so you have to be careful. Rosemary is another good oil to use for the base chakra, and it's analgesic, and it has antidepressant properties as well. But again, it's not recommended during pregnancy or for anybody with epilepsy. So there's a lot of, you know, again, a contraindication. And ginger is also a great oil for the first chakra. So then go to the second chakra, which is, it's positioned at the tailbone, but go like 2 fingers up from the Muladhara, which is the first chakra. I should have said that. That's the Sanskrit term for the first chakra. And you just go like 2 finger widths up above. And that is the Swadhisthana, which is the second chakra. So what that does is it aligns mental, emotional, and physical levels with desire and pleasure, sensuality, creativity. So there, some oils that are good for this chakra are clary sage. Now, clary sage is used, I put it in a PMS or menopause blends. And we have to be careful with this because it can mimic estrogen. So, but it's really very helpful with any kind of reproductive issues, or if you have PMS, it's very calming, helps in menstrual problems. And then ylang ylang is another great, I don't know if it's YLANG. It also, ylang ylang also lowers blood pressure, but another oil, if you just get to, if you can go to a store to just smell them, and just play around with them, it's great. And my other favorite is neroli, which is also an antidepressant that comes from the orange. Anything in the orange family is a good antidepressant oil. So, and again, the way you would use it is just, you could put a couple of drops in with like a tablespoonful of the oil if you don't want to make a whole batch, and just rub it in that spot. And it's nice to do that too while you're meditating. And then the third chakra, the solar plexus or the Manipura, it's located at the spine directly behind the navel, or so it's really the solar plexus. I say the stomach area. And this is the center of, energy, willpower, achievement, and this chakra radiates prana, right? That life force throughout the entire human body. And this is a very important area because, again, this is our digestive fire, that Agni, that power. So, so the solar plexus is also associated with the sense of sight and the action of movement. So there's a few really nice oils for this area. Basil. Basil is a really overlooked oil, but it's also great for migraines, but it's good for the nervous system, for stress, for digestion. So again, this one should also be avoided during pregnancy. And bergamot, which is also, it's a fruity floral, also antidepressant and calming. And it's interesting because a lot of the oils that are used for this, the solar plexus, which is, those gut feelings, right? So there's emotions. And now we know that our microbiome and our gut is related to our brain, right? There's a direct connection there. They're calling it third brain. So our mental health is directly linked to digestion. So the oils for the solar plexus, now they knew this 5,000 years ago, these oils all work with emotion. And there's one more I'd like to mention, vetiver, Vetiver. It really helps to anchor the body, but I can smell it as I'm sitting here thinking about it. It's a real spicy, kind of heavy oil, nice for this time of year. So those are the three there. And then we come up to, of course, the heart chakra, right? The fourth chakra, which is obviously, we know where that is, right in the center. And that's love, peace, and joy. Again, every chakra we should focus on every single one. I don't think anyone is more important than another. But of course, rose, right? Rose is for love. So roses has a calming effect, helps calm the nerves, good for headaches, shock, grief. Eucalyptus, also because it's an expectorant. It's a anti-infectious, so it's a really good oil to breathe in, not only for the heart, but that whole lung area, especially if you're feeling you have a cold or something coming on, and all that mucus that coughers tend to have. And frankincense. Frankincense is one of the oils that's really being studied a lot. It's an antidepressant, it's antiseptic, and it's really good for emotional problems. I love it. I put it in all my meditation blends.
It's really good for your thyroid now. They're doing a bunch of research, just actually rubbing the thyroid and all with frankincense can actually disperse any kind of stagnant, the throat chakra, which, sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
No, you're right. It's, I rub frankincense over my thyroid because I have Hashimoto's every single night before I go to sleep. And they're doing, this is the oil they're doing, I think, the most studies on. There are a lot of people that have been saying, oh, it can cure tumors and cancer and lung cancer. Well, let's wait, let them do the studies. But so far, yes, when I make a blend for the thyroid and it has frankincense in it. And it's been really helpful. It's helped me over the years, and I know, it's helped a lot of my clients. So, and it smells good, but it's a little bit on the pricey side, but it's worth it. You don't use that much of it. And then we get into, of course, the throat chakra. right? The chakra that deals with the spoken word, and especially with women. That's why so many of us have thyroid problems, because if women have always had that inability to like speak their true selves and express. So it's this is a really powerful chakra, and one that we really need to look at in terms of when some things are going wrong in our life, like what are we not able to communicate. But chamomile's great for the throat chakra. Again, frankincense and myrrh is another oil that's nice to mix. I mix that with frankincense in a blend with some carrier oil for the throat chakra. And then we have the sixth chakra. So, no, I'm sorry, the brow, the sixth chakra. Third eye right here. And it's always good to just, if you want to put a little oil and just massage that eye of intuition. That eye is so important. And if you're meditating and you have your eyes closed, it's good to focus on that sixth chakra. Really, really powerful. The center of clairvoyance, like visions. So you want to focus your attention there when you're one pointed clarity when you're meditating. And then angelica, another oil that's not mentioned that often, but it is really an oil that encourages inspiration and focus, but should also be avoided during pregnancy. I'm very, very cautious with this. I don't believe in taking any chances. If there's been some case studies of where people have had reactions during pregnancy, I'm like, just don't use them, because there's another oil that you can use. There's plenty you can substitute with. And of course, lavender is great for this. It's cleansing, it's calming. And another oil that's kind of hypnotic and sedative is hyacinth, one that we don't hear about too often, but really, really pretty. And it's really strong, so you'd only have to use a small amount. But it's also used in aromaspsychology. They use this oil a lot. And then, of course, the crown chakra, right? Our spiritual connection to the divine universe, to harmony and bliss, sattvic chakra. The few oils that work for this are, again, frankincense and myrrh, because, going back to biblical times, these oils were used for everything from embalming bodies to meditation and prayer. And when you go into any religious, a church, or you go into any kind of, I'm trying to think of religious, whatever, you smell frankincense, myrrh. They have different cultures have different oils and scents that they work with. So those are the two I would use for that. And then, again, use the carrier oil that goes along with your dosha. So a couple of ways, I don't want to take too much time, but I just want to give you a few ways of using these, which are really great. Again, I love diffusers, are wonderful. This time of year when, and Debbie was speaking about, abhyanga and the oiling of the body, you can put an essential oil, which whatever you try, if you just want to, like at night for calming, I'll put in some frankincense and maybe some lavender in my sesame oil, because I like to use that at night. I'm Pitta, but because it's winter and I feel like my vata is a little bit elevated right now, it's nice to just do that before bed. It really helps you sleep. You can use, a compress if you have a headache and you want to use just say like a peppermint or a basil or even a lavender. I always recommend putting a calming oil into any headache or migraine formula, because, you need to calm down when you have a headache and you're stressed like that. You can just inhale them. Take a tissue, put 1 or 2 drops on a tissue or a cloth and just inhale them. I love using, if you have a cold, or especially coughers who have all this congestion and phlegm, to put 2 drops of just say eucalyptus, or you can use a clove or peppermint into a boiling pot of water, and then get that towel that old-fashioned way and just inhale. And it really is, it'll break up the mucus. It's so helpful for that. And of course, massage, which I don't know if anybody's really going out for massage, but you can massage, do your own massage, do your own abhyanga at home. And I even recommend, making your own fragrance blends. It's just so much safer And again, we don't know, we don't know what's going into a lot of these products. And again, if you can't read it, right? If you can't read the ingredients, it shouldn't be in your life at all. So, and most of the bottles, like as far as how much you put in, this is something called a 10 mil, right? This is 10 milligrams. And I would fill this up with, I would say 5 drops in this, 5 drops of whatever oil, and you can combine them and then fill the rest with whatever carrier oil that you choose to use. And you'll have this for a long time. Some of the oils, like I say, the essential oils, they shouldn't be cheap. If they're really cheap, they're not real. And there's so many adulterated products out there, so you really have to be careful. There's a few places that I buy my oils from. I love Mountain Rose Herbs, Rose Mountain Herbs. I always mix it up. And you can order from them online. I love naturesgift.com. It's a small company owned by women, and she's really very particular about her oils and how she sources them. And then if you're ever in the city and this is a nice experience to just go and smell. It's called Enfleurage, and it's on West 13th Street in the Village. It's a small shop, probably there about 5 years or so, but they're passionate about this, and it's all fair trade. They source beautiful pure oils. You can just go there and sniff away all you want. So a couple of other things you can do. You can even add like a few essential oils to your laundry when you're washing clothes, right? Especially now, I'll add a couple of drops of tea tree. When I come home, if I've been shopping and you're out, and we're also concerned about COVID and the virus, that it's a good idea that you can just throw them right into the wash. So I just want to leave a minute or two, see if anybody has any questions about anything. I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, ask away, anyone. I had one. I don't know if Miranda is still with us, but Miranda, being pregnant, she sells Young Living. And
okay.
Using and all that. Miranda, do you have any questions regarding? I don't know if you're still there. Any of your particular oils that you're diffusing in your house right now? She might have left us. I know she has a couple questions, so we'll just wait. I'm sorry. So anyone else have any questions for Maria?
I do. I wanted to understand more on when you talk about the carrier oil. So I got the jojoba oil, which I love. Can that be a carrier oil, or is that?
Absolutely. There's a whole list of them. Jojoba is actually wonderful for the skin. So you can absolutely use that. I mean, if you're making a small batch, if you're making something specific, like it's a lighter oil, but if you're really stressed out and you want to calm down, then I would recommend like using something that's more grounding, like a sesame. But if you have jojoba, it's totally fine.
Okay. And you say sesame oil. I mean, that is going to sound silly, but is it the same kind that you would get at the store, like the food store, or is there different?
Not the toasted.
Right.
No, I know that.
Exactly. Not toasted. Yeah, I would get one like that you get at a pharmacy more so. Like I know Whole Foods has, and Mountain Rose has them. You can order them online, or you can even order it from Amazon. It's different than the food grade.
Yeah, it's the molecules are actually broken down a little bit more for the skin and to get in like through the skin. Like Banyan Botanicals, that's a quick, easy one.
Oh, I love Banyan. I buy so much stuff from them.
Sesame seed. I get the gigantic gallons and things of it, and I
Yep. Debbie, have you ever used Mahanarayan oil?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an amazing oil for, you don't even have to put essential oils in it. It's a great oil. If you have pain, it's amazing. They have so many oils cooked into that. It's, turmeric, ginger, all the great pain oils. So if you're ever going for a massage, you can bring, I recommend people bringing their own oils to massages, just because you know what's in them.
Yeah, I've done that before, because sometimes their oils are actually stinky. Like there's too
and they might buy them in bulk and they get them cheap, and you don't know what's in them.
I had one more question. Sorry, because I was writing stuff down. Because I have Hashimoto's. So you said, and I have
Oh.
the frankincense, which I've used for my son for his asthma, which is really good. But when you say you do it right at your thyroid and you mix it with the carrier, what's your ratios to that?
So the same thing. So I would take, if you're going to do it and you're going to do it on your thyroid every night, right? So you'd want to have a batch of it. So for 1 ounce of oil, of carrier oil, you can put about 15 drops of essential oil in that. So that's pretty much the ratio you want to stick to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Allie, you got a question? Oh no, are you muted again? You're muted.
Well, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Can.
Oh, miracle. Sorry about that. I'm talking away. I was intrigued with the mustard seed oil for kapha. That's a thing?
It's a thing.
Mustard seed oil?
It is, yeah. It's they actually they use it a lot in India on babies, right? Because it's the kapha time of life. So and it's really it's stimulating. So you can, it's great, it'd be great for a massage. But again, I always say test these things on your skin first, just in case they irritate you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good.
There's actually another place, it's they sell other things, but Pure Indian Foods, I don't know if you've ever bought from, they're actually right here in Jersey. And he has the best ghee too, but I also like his mustard seed oil. I'll cook with it from time to time as well.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
That the one up in Edison, it's near the Patel brothers, but it's the Pure Indian Food. It's like that new, I think I went there by accident one day. I'm trying to picture the name up on me.
Yeah, no, he's it's Sandeep, it's in Princeton.
Oh, in Princeton. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My other favorite city.
I know.
It's got to be another little road trip.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I'm still talking. I'm looking at my notes here to see if there's anything that for
But
the chakras.
yeah, they're great to have in your toolkit. I say to everyone, I really think like everyone should experiment with them, use them. They're really just a nice addition. I've been making blends like crazy this winter and during COVID, just because a lot of my friends are just having a hard time being in, as so many people are, and they're, especially in a few of my friends suffer from, SAD in the winter as it is, and then you pile this on top, this isolation. So they're feeling, they're feeling depressed. They're feeling blue. So I've been making a lot of citrus blends for them to just diffuse.
I have one client that is, she's very Pitta Vata, and she has been suffering. She actually just has gotten now in the winters where she moves for most of the winter and leaves to go down south. And so I was making her up in oil, a blend. And what would you recommend for a Pitta Vata? Like
for mood. So if she, I would probably do for her, like, I definitely would put some lavender in there and maybe some, like an orange would be nice in a sesame oil base. You can mix up to 4 essential oils. Sometimes after that, it gets muddied but again, Maharayan has a ton of oils, but that's really for a specific pain. But for the mood oils, 2 to 4 is nice.
You don't want to overpower the senses too.
Right, exactly. And you want to make sure that they because certainly, some of these oils I mentioned, like you really have to like vetiver, it's really strong, and clove and cinnamon. And cinnamon I use very, very sparingly because it can be phototoxic on the skin. That's the other thing. So citrus oils you shouldn't put on the skin, even with a carrier, and go out in the sun because you can have skin rash from them. And geranium is actually a lovely oil in place of the rose because rose is so expensive, but geranium acts in a similar way and is a nice less expensive alternative. It's beautiful, really. And it's beautiful for the skin, especially mature skin with the jojoba oil.
Yeah, I make so much for my face, like all different blends and things, but nice to get someone else's perspective on this.
What about the use of, now I always call it calendula, but I think it's calendula oil. Where would you use that? And who would benefit from that? I would use that with my babies.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a great say. I like it in a salve actually for any kind of wounds or skin rashes. So that one I don't think I would be fine using that on any, because you're basically using it for like a patch of skin on a wound, or so any that could be a tridoshic too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular oils that do well for? I have quite a few people right now with eczema, psoriasis, like real skin, like real pit aggravating
Mm.
skin issues. Do you have any particulars that are really good for any of that kind of a real skin outbreak?
Yeah. And again, this is something where we really have to, it's a trial and error, but there is a blue chamomile, which is, and it's blue, the blue is anti-inflammatory. So that's really been known to work on eczema. Also, chamomile in general is a really good skin oil. And then now, depending on, well, if it isn't, if it's like an acne, it's tea tree, but a coconut oil, because those skin conditions, they're really pitta conditions, right? They're inflammatory, they're eruptions on the skin. So testing it out with a little bit of coconut oil would be great. And in some cases, I've started out with just coconut oil. My friend's son has psoriasis, but I started building on it. So I did coconut, I put a little lavender, like 1 drop of lavender, because I think at the time he was about 8 years old. And then I added in 1 drop of tea tree to that, just, with the coconut, and it really worked well for him. And even geranium is also another oil that's been known to help with eczema. And of course, those are things that, obviously we know those are things from the inside, right? You got to heal that gut first.
Right, exactly.
But these will really help.
The one issue is mainly gut, and then the extreme, the stress and all that, and pilot just went explode.
Yeah, I'm hearing about a lot of skin issues now too, because people are home, their eating is thrown off. And look, we have to give it ourselves and everybody a break at this, with what everybody's been going through. To really, which is why this is great that you're doing this, because it's kind of a reset during this time when everybody really needs it.
Any more questions for Maria? Maria, I read your article. Beautiful. I mean,
Thank you.
That was really, really great. I brought it. So ladies, I shared that on the Facebook too. Maria with Williams. I'm sorry, what was her first name? I forgot.
So yeah, Beverly Williams, she's actually an employment attorney, and we were approached to write this article about, she wanted to just do it on, she was going to do it on employment and getting a job in this. And she's like, nobody cares about that. She's like, I have to incorporate let's incorporate wellness into this. And so they asked me to co-write it with her. So I did. And that, my portion was just about, they asked a lot of questions and, what are my top 3 things? And it's always, this is pretty much the same things, nutrition and meditation, right? I mean, I can't stress meditation enough.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
Yep.
In a 5-minute checkout.
Yep.
Really resets. Really, really, really benefits.
No, absolutely. I think, and that's something I learned over the years too, when I was first had clients, and you give them all these things to do, and it's overwhelming. So I'm like, you know what? Give me 5 minutes of meditation and 5 minutes of yoga stretches. That's it. And like you said, it takes a minute and a half to scrape your tongue, do your dry brush in the morning. For me now, it's just like, it's part of, okay, I brush my teeth, I do that. It's part of the routine.
All right, ladies, any more questions? Any more comments? We have all, so that teaching, if you want to go over any of the, back into the actual, the 5 senses, the care and the real teaching, that's the, I think I posted that video yesterday. And along with that, I think I referenced to the importance of, there's different, the Nasia oils, the eye exercises, the palming, the dry brushing, which we went through, for your ears, a little bit of ear oiling, the tongue especially, so pay attention to the tongue. And we can go into, I think I went into in there the 6 taste. And then we do have, I think it's on page like 67 or 68, we have of the habits, there is the actual tongue chart, and it's like through the days and through, so you can actually for like 5 or 6 days look at your tongue and really observe. Allie, you have it right. I have it right here too. It's really, it's right here. It's just a basic, like our, almost like our meal plan, but it just goes through the day. And then really take notice. I can send you one of those, Maria.
Yeah, I'd love it.
It's pretty neat just to really like track, like take, notice smooth cracks, moving stuff. Like you can tell an older person too, like their tongue, how they have tremors, but even someone, say a child, you're not aware, if you're watching your child's tongue and it's kind of shaking at different times, there's a nervousness or there's an unsettledness in the body, in the child. Something's going on. Someone older, of course, younger, within, but there's little things like this that we don't pay attention to. And the body's giving us these little tiny signs before it turns into something else. Ear ringing, eye strain, eye twitches, nose bleeds. This is the body saying, I'm here, like, pay attention to this before we get into stage 2 and 3 and 5 and 6 of disease. I'm burping, I'm gassy. You're not supposed to burp all day. You're not supposed to like be, expelling gas all day or hiccuping. Like, this is the body saying you're not doing something right. And just listen to me for a minute. I'm trying to tell you. So it's little tiny things. These are like little cues. So, but the tongue chart, that's a fun, easy one. And that's a real indication on what's going on inside.
And it was a good point, yet I like that you made about, every day, right? It'd be different. If you have a night out where you're drinking and eating, and your tongue is going to be different in the morning that day than another day.
Right.
And that really shows you, what a gauge it is.
Right. And reverse engineer.
Yeah.
What happened? What did I do? Like, what was different? What was off? Was my stress level? Did I eat something that's not agreeing with me?
Yeah.
Along that. Was my boss a jerk today?
Yeah. That happens a lot.
Daily stresses.
Yep.
Interrupts digestion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We could go on, but we'll do that again. And next week we have a wonderful speaker again. Maria Venus from school.
Venus. I love her.
So please join us again. I'll send you the
I
link.
will.
Next week is Easeful Living. I'm going to preempt that she is this beautiful woman who has gone through, I'm just going to give it 2 seconds. She has gone through many, many stresses and things, broke down her body. She had autoimmunes and all different, and she had lupus. She was on, I think it's 28 pills a day. She saw Dr. Naina, adjusted her habits and got into her Ayurvedic change. She is lupus free. She is medication free. After being diagnosed pretty much with a life sentence, take 28 pills a day. Sorry, we can't help you. And, just keep taking these pills and you'll be okay. So she's going to come on and talk to us about easeful living, the effects of stress in our life, how it's breaking the body down, and how it's really, really disturbing life, and how it does not have to be. So please try not to miss next week. She's a beautiful human being, and I think you're really going to enjoy her.
Oh, I love her. She's one of my favorite people. So I wouldn't miss it.
She's so gracious. She couldn't, when can I help you? Who can I speak to? So she's really great. All right, ladies. Well, thank you. This was a wonderful, informative call.
Thank you.
Maria, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks,
thank you,
Maria.
Debbie. Thank you, ladies. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
I hope to see you all next week.
Yes. Okay. Have a great evening, everyone.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.